Okay, so today we have another video from Toronto Sun. This time we're going to talk about CBC. The title says CBC clearly doesn't believe in freedom of expression in Canada. Well, it's not hard to believe that, in my opinion. Do you remember during the election campaign how Mark Carney full on during some some of his speeches with journalists mentioned, oh, if I win, I'm gonna give CBC like $120 million a year. And like the moment I saw it, I was like, he's full on bribing CBC on a TV, on the internet. Like it was so shameful, and I still till today I don't understand why people were not outraged by it when he's offering a bribe to CBC to help him get elected. And we all know CBC is biased. CBC loves to promote liberals. So yeah, it was ridiculous. And that's why I'm not really surprised that they want to oppress the freedom of expression in Canada, because they've been doing it, and that's what they signed up to, and that's what Mark Carney wants them to do, right? But anyway, without further ado, let's see what Brian Lilly has to say about that.
Do we believe in charter rights or don't we in this country? Hi, I'm Brian Lilly, political columnist for the Toronto Sun. We've been watching for the last week.
Sorry, one more thing before we continue. There, like Mark Carney make some speeches or some comments about the freedom of speech, right? And it wasn't about we should have freedom of speech. It was more like we should censor more. So yeah, again, I'm not surprised.
As CBC has gone on a holy war against an American Christian singer named Sean Foyt, who apparently, according to them, holds MAGA views. Based on that, they think he should be shut down. They have been waging a war against this man to have his concerts canceled, to have him blocked from performing in Canada. I thought that we had freedom of expression in this country. That's what is written in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We also have freedom of religion. We have freedom of assembly. And yet, in every single city that Sean Foyt has tried to perform in, CBC is there trying to shut him down, trying to say he doesn't have a permit to perform Christian worship songs in a Christian church. That's what they did in Montreal. They are trying to say that he should not be performing in any public spaces in Canada.
Wait, am I missing something? Isn't the CBC news station? Am I missing something here?
I'm sorry. Look, I don't know this guy. I don't know his political views. But I do know that we have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms that says we have freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, and freedom of religion. Just because he supports someone that you may oppose politically right now doesn't mean that you need to shut him down. And if you're writing into me, as many have, saying he does not uphold Canadian viewpoints of diversity and inclusion, therefore we need to exclude him, I think you better check yourself. Because if you are saying we need to exclude someone because they don't hold our political viewpoints, then you're not actually in favor of diversity and inclusion. This is so perplexing to me, but I've been dealing with this for close to 2 decades. I was there when they shut down Ann Coulter from speaking at the University of Ottawa, simply because she held political...
Yeah, sorry, I just had to double check if the CBC is that news station or no, because it's ridiculous that they're trying to shut someone down. And hey, if he's doing Christian music in the church, why are we putting politics into it? Unless in the church he's like, oh yeah, President Trump, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that's what he's doing. Like, he's promoting his religion. And again, why do we care who he voted back in the US? Like, it's not going to affect us, right? And yeah, I mean, CBC, like, legacy media are dying. So obviously they're trying to write about whatever they can and trying to show off their power. But come on, this is ridiculous. I'm gonna rewind it a little bit because I think I missed the beginning, but yeah, let's go.
I was there when they shut down Ann Coulter from speaking at the University of Ottawa simply because she held political views that were different from those of Alan Rock, the former Liberal cabinet minister, who was then the head of the University of Ottawa. And people decided you can't speak if you hold views that we don't agree with. That was long before Donald Trump. That was during George
That's
W. Bush's
ridiculous.
time, when we were close allies, when Jean Chrétien was even close with George W. Bush, and yet we tried to shut that down. We are not the purists that we think we are on free speech. We should be,
Oh, we
but
know
we're
we
not.
are not.
A good chunk of the so-called progressive side of the aisle only wants to protect free speech if it agrees with them. I'm sorry, but I will defend
Yeah,
free speech for people that I disagree with. As
yeah,
long as
for
you're
sure.
not, supporting banned terrorist groups or advocating violence, I'm going to defend your right to free speech.
Amen,
Sadly,
brother.
the other side
Yep.
won't do the same. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment down below. Share this on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's 100% right. And we don't have to go far back in the memory. Do you remember 2020? Was it 2020 or 2021? And the Freedom Convoy, right? How media used to present it like this crazy protest that's endangering the whole Ottawa and whatever, right? Well, apparently it wasn't like that at all. I had a few friends who actually visited the Freedom Convoy, and yeah, if there was an ambulance, they let them pass. They didn't block the roads. And look nowadays, if they have a pro-Hamas or pro-Palestine protest, they're not gonna let ambulance pass. Like they're gonna block the whole street, illegal protest, and liberals will let them do it. And okay, I'm saying pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas, but it doesn't mean that I'm pro-Israel. Okay, I'm just giving an example of the protests, how liberals are literally peaceful protest is the worst, and the illegal pro-terrorist group protest is allowed somehow. And by pro-terrorist, again, I mean pro-Hamas. Because for me, one thing I disagree completely, and that's what media or legacy media keep doing, is putting pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas protests all together, which is not true. Every Palestinian is not a member of Hamas, right? What are we talking about? But anyway, we got a little bit too far ahead with this. Let's talk the Freedom Convoy. So the participants of the Freedom Convoy got their money frozen, their bank accounts frozen, they got charged of some crimes and all of that BS. Where was freedom of speech then? And during the whole COVID era, right? You mentioned something on the internet, or out of nowhere you were fact-checked, cancelled, or at least censored. And the same thing at the workplace, like you couldn't have fight against it at all. And I'm not saying if I'm pro-COVID, or obviously I'm not pro-COVID, whatever, who am I kidding, right? But hey, like freedom of speech in Canada, unfortunately, it's been really bad. And with DEI and the woke stuff, it got even worse. And US, I mean, in the US it was very similar, right? But now, thanks to President Trump, thank God they're restoring the freedom of speech. They're getting rid of DEI and woke stuff. Well, unfortunately, Canadians elected liberals for another term. The liberals who started all of this, the liberals who are literally crapping on freedom of speech. Mark Carney, prior to being elected, literally said that we need to censor people more on the internet. Look, Mark Carney, who got called for conflict of interest prior to election, and now he has like 103 conflicts of interest. Like literally billions disappeared in his conflict of interest deals. Billions of taxpayers' money. That's ridiculous. And let's go back to CBC and that ridiculous thing Mark Carney did prior to election, right? Hey, CBC, if I win the election, you're gonna get 130 million a year from me. From you or from taxpayers' money? That's another thing. So again, I'm not surprised at all that the freedom of expression in Canada is really bad, and CBC obviously is supporting this. Yeah, look who they aligned with. So